One of the most difficult but most beneficial lessons to learn, or ways of life to learn when you're in recovery, is not caring what other people think about you. And this is really difficult because I feel like I started drugs because I cared so much about what other people thought of me. Not so much maybe what they thought of me, but how I felt in other people's presence. And in reality, that when you think about it, that's kind of exactly the same thing. You know, we feel one way because we think we might be getting judged, or, I mean, maybe it's not that simple, but I know that one of the reasons why I started doing drugs was because I felt more comfortable in my own skin. So it's really hard to, when you stop drugs, when you go into recovery, it's really hard to learn how to get comfortable in your own skin again. On top of that, you've got a lot of eyes on you. You know, I know at the end of my active addiction, I was very much isolating myself from a lot of people, from everybody. I was isolating by myself, didn't want anyone to see me, didn't really want to be judged by anyone. Every time I saw somebody, I felt like I was going to get into an argument or a fight, or I had to defend myself. And so it's kind of like we're in this mode of like isolation and self-preservation. And then we have to face life without drugs, which is kind of like being naked on a stage and everybody's looking at you. It feels that way. You feel very raw, very like, just very exposed. So when we have people judge us or question our sobriety, that's a big one, or our ability to recover. You know, we'll always have those people out there saying, yes, you could do it, I know you can do it, this is going to be great, you're the strongest person. And then once you're there, it's usually those same people that are like, is she doing it? I don't really think she's doing it. I think she might have relapsed. I know you relapsed. Or, you know, just judging. And then you start getting all the feelings, and you start remembering all of the bad things that you've done to other people, the bridges you've burned when you only cared about yourself and you were very selfish in your addiction. Well, it's almost like you've got to be selfish again in your recovery. You really have got to try. I learned, I'm not going to try to say you really have to. I feel like I'm being like, talking like to you, like telling you what to do. You don't have to do any of this. But I found this to be very helpful for me when I was first in recovery. Like, one of the most difficult things for me was to show my face to the people that I hurt the most, and that happened to be my family. And it was really difficult to do this, especially around, you know, Thanksgiving, holidays, all those times. And I didn't go for a lot of them, or I'd show up late and I'd leave early, because I learned that I had to do this recovery my way, on my terms. As long as I stayed off drugs, no matter what I did, I knew, and I still know, that I'm one step ahead of it, that I'm doing my recovery right. And when I started thinking about making amends, which is one of the steps if you are doing the 12 steps of AA and A, making amends, I want to say it's number 3. Making amends with others that you've hurt. When I started thinking about making that, I really looked at it this way. I knew I would be making amends with all of those people once I got better. Me focusing on myself and becoming the best possible version of myself, sober, learning myself, loving myself, forgiving myself. Once I did that, all the others, it came very easy. The hardest thing for me was forgiving myself. And I think this is very important if you are listening to this and you're not the person who is in active addiction, but rather your loved one is. I think it's really important for you to listen to that. The most important thing in a person's recovery is for that person to be strong and to be able to look at themselves and understand that we made a mistake, that we're only human too, and to forgive ourselves. And it's almost like your feelings, the feelings of the people that are loved ones, have to take a back seat. And even though they've been taking a back seat this whole time, and you kind of want to forgive, and you want, as the recovering addict, you want to say I'm sorry, those promises, those apologies will be empty promises, empty apologies, unless we as addicts learn to forgive ourselves first. Because that's really the person who we've harmed the most, is ourselves. We really did a number on ourselves. And so all the other people, all your other loved ones will come later. And it's so important to remember that. I remember I had somebody who swore I was back on drugs. And when I was on drugs and I was really like, maybe even the last times that I tried to get off drugs, if somebody had said, I know you're using again, I would have gotten so pissed. I would have been mad, I would have been upset, I would have had to try to defend myself. But when you're really in recovery and you're really doing it, and you're really too tired to give a shit what anyone else thinks about you and your recovery. And this, my friends, whether you are in recovery or know somebody that is in recovery, is the very most purest way of knowing if somebody is truly in recovery. When they stop caring about how others look at them. When we stop caring about the words other people use to describe us, because we finally are doing it for ourselves. So if somebody was to say to me, I know you're using again, I have to say weight, because weight was a big thing for me. You look like you're losing a lot of weight. When I was using, I was skinny. When I wasn't, I gained weight. That was one of the reasons why I stayed on drugs for so long, is because I battled with this weight problem. And I know a lot of people have this. It's sad, though, really is, because we learn how to diet through not eating and through, the drugs cutting our appetite. But that is a whole different video. But I now looking back, I see that I knew I was truly in recovery, and I was truly doing it for myself, and I could give a shit what anyone else said about me and my recovery, because I didn't care what they thought. I didn't have to stick up for myself. I didn't have to tell them how many days I've been sober. I didn't have to tell them I got a sponsor. I didn't have to prove anything, because I was proving it to myself. And I had so much more energy when I focus just on me, and instead of trying to set this standard or image, wow, that person just flew by me, that other people expected from me. Because that's probably what got me to where I was as an addict in the first place. Unrealistic expectations of myself from others that they purposely or not purposely put on me. And it was just too much. So, if you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed with the burdens that other people are putting on you and you're in recovery, please walk away and take a breath and take some personal time, because relapsing is not an option these days. The drugs out there are so scary. People are dying. It's so scary out there. So if you happen to have, by the love of God and by His grace, if you're in recovery and you've walked away from a life addiction, and you have people, loved ones, family, friends, and they're focusing on you, and they're putting unrealistic expectations on you, which could even be, you know, looks like you're talking about your weight, or talking about your jobs, or how you're talking, or your presentation, anything that makes you struggle and take a look at yourself and say, well, am I not good enough? Walk the hell away and give yourself some time, because number one person right now is you and your recovery, you and your greater power. That's what's going to get you through this. Not other people telling you you're doing a good job, not you showing others how great you're doing, not you apologizing to others because of what you've done. That can all come later, you know? So, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and let you know that, again, you're stronger than you think you are. You're doing something that is very hard, that took me, I think, what, 6 or 7 times to finally get right. And then I still work on it each and every day, and I've been sober for 7 years. Let me introduce myself. If you're new here, my name is Lauren, and I am a recovering addict. I was addicted to drugs for many, many years. I was addicted to Adderall for 10 plus years and other drugs before that. But I have been in recovery now for 7 years, almost 7 years. And I'm not a therapist by any means. I'm just someone here that kind of knows where you've been, what you're feeling. At least I think I do. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and replies. Just remember that you're doing it, and that you need to be your biggest fan right now, because you should be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you.